If you've been anywhere online lately, then you already know the timeline has been on fire. Why? Because Nicki Minaj and SZA have found themselves in the middle of one of the most chaotic, jaw-dropping feuds the music industry has seen in years.
Out of here. You need to stop!
Hey!
And let me tell you, things haven't just heated up, they've completely exploded. We're talking leaked footage, resurfaced text messages, accusations flying left and right, FBI tags, and even politicians being pulled into the mix. This is not your typical hip-hop spat. This is an all-out spectacle that's dragged in old industry grudges, label beef, toxic fan bases, and years of buried drama that's finally spilling into the open. It all started with what seemed like a small spark, just a couple of tweets that most people probably would have ignored. But when queens collide, that spark turned into a wildfire that's still burning. So buckle up, because here's exactly how a random tweet about Mercury retrograde spiraled into one of the messiest sagas of 2025. The spark that lit the fuse. The date was July 15th, 2025, just another Tuesday in the middle of summer. The hip-hop world wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary. New releases here, some chart news there, maybe a little shade tossed between the usual rivals. But by the end of the day, the entire music industry would be upside down. At 12:35 p.m. Eastern, Terrence "Punch" Henderson, the president of Top Dog Entertainment, posted what seemed like the most ordinary tweet imaginable. A simple promo for a track called Broken Barbies by an artist named I Am Lyric. Now, Punch isn't just some random exec. He's one of the architects of TDE's empire, the guy who helped shape the careers of Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q, and yes, SZA herself. But apparently, this seemingly harmless tweet didn't land that way with Nicki Minaj. By 4:21 p.m., Nicki had fired off a tweet that left jaws on the floor.
Yesterday, SZA entered the chat again in this Nicki Minaj back and forth, and she dropped text messages from Nicki Minaj, and she says that these text messages will show that Nicki absolutely does know her music and what she contributes, because Nicki Minaj asked for features twice to no response, in addition to rapping my lyrics on Feeling Myself.
LOL. Y'all remember that man from TDE who kept bullying me on Twitter for no reason? We have the receipts. LOL, I never even responded to him. What was his name again, y'all? I'ma call him minus 30 million from now on. #justice for Diori. Fans immediately scrambled to figure out what on earth she was talking about. What receipts? Why Punch? What did Broken Barbies have to do with anything? According to Nicki, she took his promo tweet as a subtle dig at her fan base, the Barbs, who have always been tied to Barbie imagery. But Nicki didn't stop there. She claimed this wasn't just about one tweet. No, she said it was about years of so-called bullying and sabotage attempts from Punch after she turned down his business pitches. And just like that, the feud was on. The timeline was buzzing, everyone trying to connect dots, pull up old tweets, and figure out if Nicki was onto something or just manufacturing another controversy. Now here's where it gets messy. While Nicki was already heating up over Punch, SZA innocently stepped into the conversation without even realizing it. At 3:20 p.m., just about an hour before Nicki's rant, SZA tweeted something that was extremely on brand for her. Mercury retrograde, don't take the bait, lol silly goose. Anyone who follows SZA knows she's deeply into astrology, energy shifts, and cosmic references. It was the kind of vague, whimsical post she makes all the time. But Nicki decided this wasn't harmless. She interpreted it as a slick subtweet aimed at her, trying to clown her while she was mid-rant about Punch. SZA later clarified she wasn't talking about anyone at all. She said she had just gotten off stage and was tweeting about retrograde energy in general. But by that point, logic had already left the building. Nicki was locked in, convinced SZA was being shady. Her response? Brutal. She fired back with a tweet saying, "Go draw your freckles back on Bookie. #justice for Demery, #deposition Perez. Liar, liar, pants on fire, sounding like a reffing dead dog." The internet froze. People were staring at their screens like, wait, did Nicki Minaj, the queen of rap, just hit SZA with liar, liar, pants on fire? The insult sounded less like rap beef and more like schoolyard taunts.
Text message reads, as we mentioned in the convo yesterday, she says, "Hey, it's Nicki," and they respond, "Minaj," and she says, "Yes, how are you?" Or, "How are you? I'm good, money, what's poppin', congrats on her order." So then she goes right to, "Is SZA recording right now? I got this hook, I think she would be dope."
But Nicki was only warming up. She followed up with even more jabs, clowning SZA's appearance and voice, saying she looked and sounded like she'd been stung by a bee. And while some fans laughed, others were stunned at how petty it felt. SZA, for her part, wasn't about to let herself get bullied. At first, she tried to brush it off with calm confidence. I don't give a F about none of that weird shit you poppin'. But as Nicki kept piling it on, SZA decided it was time to bring out her own receipts. This is where the feud shifted from messy to downright explosive. SZA dropped screenshots of text messages from back in 2020 showing that Nicki Minaj herself had reached out asking for not one, but 2 collaborations. The text, which SZA posted publicly, showed Nicki introducing herself directly. "Hey, it's Nicki." She explained she wanted SZA on a hook for a song she was recording. SZA responded politely but declined, saying she was in album mode working on what would become her blockbuster album SOS. And just to twist the knife, SZA reminded everyone that she also had co-writing credits on Nicki and Beyoncé's 2014 hit Feeling Myself. Specifically, she wrote the line, "Cooking up the bass, looking like a kilo." Her clapback was sharp but calm. "Nicki, you absolutely know my music and what I contribute because you've asked for features twice, and in addition, you rap my lyrics on Feeling Myself. I'm not sure why we're having a moment now, but be blessed." The internet went crazy. Suddenly, Nicki's whole narrative about SZA being irrelevant or unknown collapsed in on itself. There it was in black and white. Nicki had not only known who SZA was, she had sought her out more than once for features. Industry insiders confirmed it too. Punch himself told The Breakfast Club that the 2020 request was real. Nicki's team had reached out, but SZA was too deep in her own album process to say yes. This revelation reframed the feud completely. What Nicki tried to spin as her dismissing an irrelevant artist now looked like bitterness over being turned down. Fans immediately saw it as insecurity disguised as superiority. If you thought that would make Nicki step back, you clearly don't know how she operates. The text had embarrassed her, sure, but instead of de-escalating, Nicki doubled down. She went nuclear. On July 16th and 17th, Nicki lit up X with a barrage of posts questioning SZA's success. She tweeted things like, "Does SZA think she's more successful than me? LMAO, catch me up. If every song you've ever made vanished, the music industry wouldn't even notice. I've been to countries that never even heard of you." Fans immediately called out the irony. SZA's SOS had broken Billboard records, charting in the top 10 longer than even Michael Jackson's Thriller. She was co-headlining one of the year's biggest stadium tours with Kendrick Lamar. To act like she was irrelevant was laughable, but Nicki wasn't just going after her career. She started digging up old tweets from 2011 where SZA, then an unknown aspiring singer, had made snarky comments about Beyoncé, Rihanna, and Ciara. Nicki resurfaced them, painting SZA as jealous and hateful. The problem? Those tweets were ancient history. SZA was practically a teenager then, and she had since gone on to work with or praise those same women. Bringing them back felt desperate, especially compared to SZA's graceful responses. And Nicki wasn't stopping there. She dragged Drake into it, claiming she was his original pick for the 2023 hit Rich Baby Daddy, which ended up featuring Sia and Sexy Red. She tweeted, "I wonder if she knows I turned down being on that Drake song. He wanted me and Sexy on it, but I saved it for Pink Friday too. And now she's still out here shaking ass for Drake every day after swallowing his balls, allegedly." The crude reference to SZA and Drake's brief fling back in 2009 disgusted many fans. It felt unnecessary and cruel, but Nicki wasn't done. She even dragged Beyoncé into it, claiming she and Bey had argued over who should sing the very lyric SZA wrote for Feeling Myself. At first, Nicki posted both Beyoncé and Rihanna's names, but then quickly edited it to say Ciara, leading fans to believe she was scared of the Beyhive backlash. At this point, people weren't just entertained, they were concerned. Nicki's behavior was being called petty, bitter, and unhinged, while Sia came off as calm, focused, and above it all. While Nicki spiraled online, SZA focused on her tour. She tweeted, "I get bullied by millions online every day, then step out on a packed stadium stage where people show me real love. That's what's real." It was a mic drop moment. She wasn't fighting back with insults. She was reminding everyone that real success is happening offline, in arenas full of fans, not in petty Twitter threads. Her final word on the matter was simple. "LOL, let me go back to being calm, shy, and meek. Y'all have a blessed night." Fans caught the double meaning of meek, which some saw as a sly jab at Nicki's ex, Meek Mill. By contrast, Nicki looked stuck in online beef mode, obsessing over SZA while SZA was thriving on tour. Just when people thought the drama was finally winding down, it escalated in a way no one saw coming. On July 18th, a TDE affiliate named MacWop jumped on a live stream and joked about Nicki, saying, "Relax before you get put in the blender like your boy." In hip-hop slang, blender clearly referred to Kendrick Lamar lyrically destroying Drake during their 2024 feud. It was about rap battles, not physical violence. But Nicki didn't take it that way. She reposted the clip, tagged the FBI, and even brought in Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, asking them to investigate MacWop for threats. The community was stunned. Calling in federal law enforcement over rap beef was unheard of and went against the culture's unspoken rule: keep disputes in the industry, don't involve the feds. Many felt Nicki had crossed a serious line. By now, it was clear this feud wasn't just about one misinterpreted tweet. It was about Nicki's long-standing grudges with TDE, her loyalty to Drake, and the messy politics of the music industry. SZA just got caught in the crossfire. The Barbs, Nicki's infamous fan base, made everything worse with harassment campaigns, doxing attempts, and non-stop attacks on SZA online. Meanwhile, SZA showed grace under pressure, keeping her focus on music and her sold-out tour. In the end, the Nicki versus SZA feud will go down as one of the messiest cautionary tales in hip-hop history. It showed how quickly social media can amplify misunderstandings, how toxic fan culture can escalate drama, and how industry politics shape even personal beefs. What started as a harmless astrology tweet turned into a saga involving receipts, old tweets, accusations of irrelevance, Drake, Beyonce, Rihanna, Ciara, FBI tags, and Congresswoman Luna. And yet the real takeaway was simple. While Nicki was on X fighting ghosts, SZA was on stage performing for 50,000 people a night. Sometimes the best clapback isn't a tweet, it's success.